Hello everybody and welcome back to another Ayoto Corporation video. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Hand of Fate.
It has been some time since you last sat at the table. Let us begin again.
So, you may be asking, what is Hand of Fate? Well, it's basically an RPG roguelike combined with a card game
Challenges
that,
become even more difficult from
I guess
here.
to some extent, I felt like would have worked better as an actual physical card game because it's got some pretty cool things in here. Now, there's two modes. I'll show you Endless Mode later on, but the main meat of the game and where most of the stuff is unlocked is Story Mode, so that's where we start. Now, the game is pretty simple. You pick a enemy to fight, so for example, I'm currently on the Queen of Plague, but you can also pick something like the King of Dust, Jack of Scales, etc., and you duel them. You have to go through a little adventure, and eventually at the end of the adventure you find them and hopefully kill them. In my case, I have yet to still kill the Queen of Plague. There's also like little bits of lore.
Take your time if you like. I've waited long enough.
Yeah, I know. That guy is also really cool. Hold on. This guy here is the dealer. He's basically the opponent that you face throughout the game. He shuffles the cards, he deals them out, and probably the best part, is he gives commentary on every single thing that happens in the game. Literally everything.
Scared of returning to the fray.
So, for example, because I'm taking too long, he's commenting on how I must be scared, and a lot of the times he'll comment on various quests that are going on.
Queen of Plague, terror of mankind. You will not be the one to bury her.
Anyway, the way you play is you have two decks. You got your equipment deck and your encounter deck. The equipment deck is basically equipment you find in the world through treasure or at stores if you're lucky. It has weapons, it has armor, that sort of thing, and you can select what goes in your deck. So for example, because Fate's Folly, which is this mask I've got, or helm, when I succeed on a thing, I get gold, but because I don't have it in my deck, I will not get it. I will get all of these things. So you can actually select what you get, and you can build your own deck if you really want. It's pretty cool. The encounters works pretty much the same way. All these can basically be considered as different quests, and the different quests actually sort of tie in together. For example... Okay, welcome back. Just had to cut something out there. For example, where is it? There's this card, Lost in the Desert. If I complete this card's challenge, then I gain the Desert Cult card, which then leads into another thing. I believe this one leads into, I can't remember actually, it leads into some sacrifice card. It might be in my deck right now. And there are other ones. For example, Charity 5 is a card I got as a result of completing Charities 1 through 4. The Royal Treasury I got as a result of an event card called... The Apprentice, where I basically got sucked into a portal, and then I randomly wound up in front of a giant tomb. This one should actually be in my deck. Now, the little tokens on the bottom of each card... right there at the bottom, means that it is a card that you have not completed yet. So you still haven't basically completed the quest and gotten your reward, which is the continuation of the quest and whatever other rewards you might get from it. Desert of the Damned, I think. Yeah, I don't like that card. But you can build these two decks as you want, so as you adventure, you complete quests, and so on and so forth. I'll start the adventure now. So, Queen of Plague, let's begin. So this is how every game starts. The dealer will shuffle the cards up, and he'll basically deal a little map for you to walk around on. I kind of wish there was a thing to skip it, but it's not too big of a deal. So, I've arrived at the tavern. I've done this card before, so I know what happens, but... I have the option, based on the different things I have in my inventory, to wager. For example, I can either wager 20 gold, which I do not currently have, or my helmet against another guy in the bar for some reward. And this is how that testing goes.
Select your desire.
As you saw before, there were 4 cards, 2 of them successes, 2 of them failures. There are also great success and great failure, but they obviously haven't played a part in this. Now, it is possible to actually follow what cards went where, and I might show this. It might be a bit of editing to do.
Actually follow what cards went where.
But, for example, if the card on the left was a success, I could follow it, shuffled into the middle, and wherever it went next. I think... Yes, okay, that's a success. So I won, and he doesn't have 20 gold, so instead he'll draw me 1 gold gain card, which is...
I'm sure you're grateful for that.
25 gold. I don't know how that works. And that's basically how the game runs. You go places, you complete little mini adventures that are there, and then you get rewards. It's all randomly generated, which means every time you play will be completely different. For example, I have not completed this particular thing before. I've completed all these cards, but not this map. All of them are randomly generated. Let's see. I can get more health, I can get food, or gold. More health is never really much of a use, so I'll go for... food. No. Yes, food. Okay, cool. More food is always more helpful. Ah, the lizard dome. Excellent.
Fight the lizardmen, if you will, but proceed with caution. They are
So, in the case of this thing, I have now been clubbed over the head in the middle of the night, kidnapped, and dragged to the Thunderdome, where I have to fight for the amusement of the lizards. And I have my option of 6 rats or 6 skeletons, and I think I'll go for these guys. So here's how combat works. You've got dodge, you've got basic attack, which you just spin over and over again, and you have the ability to sort of bash, which is useful if enemies have shields. What I can't really show you right now because my shield is missing as a result of the lizards basically stealing it in the middle of the night, is the option to parry. And when you get a shield, a big icon shows up, sort of like in Arkham like cities, or Arkham City style combat, where a big icon will show up and you just travel across the map in order to complete the parry. Haha, yes! There are also environmental hazards, like I just showed there, which allow you to sort of trick enemies into getting into traps and damage them for you. Come on. There's a lot of skeletons here. You need to do the shield bash. Well, I just bash because occasionally skeleton enemies, like these skeletons, will have shields which block your attack, so you need to break them open. There we go. Finally killed them all. God, that was annoying. So anyway, I've completed the first part of the challenge. I've gained my equipment back, and I get some boons. So I got the scavenger cap, which means I get more food than normal. Yes, I'll equip that. I get to look at the rest of the cards that are on the board. Oh, I gain health back, which is nice. And I get more food. Very nice. So now here comes the thing. I have the ability to basically choose my own destiny. This one will take me out of the card. I don't get the reward for completing it, but I do survive the arena and don't have to fight anymore. On the other hand, I could be a hero and then go back and free some of the prisoners. Now, I got a 1 in 4 chance of succeeding here. Yes! Got it. Okay. So I get a blessing, which is a boon, just constantly passively active. Whenever the player uses an artifact, there's a 30% chance of immediately reducing its cooldown. Okay, that's not too bad, I guess. And now I have its token. Now, just in the interest of time, because I could just keep playing this for like a good 30 minutes until I get to the end, I will forfeit and basically show you what happens. So, let's say I've lost. I've either died via combat, or
I'm afraid that is where this round ends.
I've just died as a result of my food running out and my health running out. So I picked up that token from the Lizard Dome, right? Here's what happens. I get this little thing, and by opening up my treasure, I get the Wandering Minstrel's card. Now I don't know what that means. Either it's something it's got to be something to do with the Lizard Arena, because it's basically a follow-up to that quest. So perhaps these Wandering Minstrels travel around and speak of the great deeds I did by freeing people from the arena. I don't really know, but if I go back to story mode really quick, if I go back to story mode here and I select the Queen of Plague again,
she waits for you. Patient.
I can go to the deck builder, and in the encounters deck, I have this card. So, if I were to find the Lizard Arena, the Lizard Dome, I can replace it with the Wandering Minstrels, and then on my next adventure through, I might have the chance of running into the Wandering Minstrels. Of course, I could replace any card in my deck. Like, I could replace the Cursed Treasure, but this is honestly really awesome. Battle at Brooktop, Dead King's Hall, the Metal Ore. All this. I can take it all out, except for the one that is locked. So these two, the Dark Ritual and the Queen of Plague, I cannot remove from my deck because I have to encounter them. In the case of the Queen of Plague, that's the boss. Like, there is no way I cannot have this card in my deck. The Dark Ritual, I don't know about. This may be something I've completed before, like part of a quest line, or this may be something to do with the area itself. For example, if I find the Ratman hunting cards, these cards were originally locked into the deck. I had to have these cards, but then I met the Noble Trader, and he said that if I paid him enough money to, he could hire a band of mercenaries to get rid of the Ratmen that are hunting me down. So, I paid him gold, he got the Ratman out of my deck, so now I no longer have to deal with these cards unless they are sort of added by force as a result of the dealer setting them up. So all in all, it's a really cool system. It generates quests randomly, and they all work out really well. Because it's all just a bunch of little interconnected games that happen. You travel around and randomly create a dungeon, and you encounter things that are in your decks. Now, Endless Mode is pretty much the same thing, except, as you can guess from the name, it's endless. You travel until you drop from either starvation or enemies killing you. As far as I can tell, it uses up every card, so instead of building a deck of 25 encounters and 25 equipments, you just use all the ones you have. Okay, the Two of Dust. Okay, so here's 2 huge successes and 2 failures. If I get one of the 2 huge successes... Aha! I'm able to take down one of these groups of enemies before they can even react. If I got the failure, they might spot me, or if I'm really unlucky and get a huge failure as part of the shuffle, they might actually deal serious damage to me, so I'm wounded and have lower maximum health. Ah, crap, there's a... Okay, right, I have my shield now. So that big thing basically just says there's a parry I can do. I can always parry no matter what. It breaks me out of whatever combo I happen to be doing at the time. So I can just parry whenever. I can also dodge out of the way, but as far as I can tell, dodging does not give you invulnerability frames while you're doing it. So dodging is really only used for big attacks, which are sort of denoted by red when they're swinging. Sort of like a powerful attack that you can't block no matter what. Another thing, and this is why food is so important, provided I don't heal, good. Cool, got cuffs. As you move along and look on the left side where my food and health are, you use 1 food for each square you move, but every time you eat a food, you gain 5 health. Of course, on the flip side, if you run out of food and you start moving, you lose 10 health each time, and eventually you will just drop dead. So it's not a great deal. There are also shops everywhere, so I can go to this mage, which specializes in magical items. So I can get any of these things. These are artifacts. They're basically like abilities you can activate. This one only has 8 uses. Some of them have more. Some of them are infinite. Some of them less, etc. I don't have money to buy any of these, sadly. I can also sell items that I've got. So if I pick up a better helm, for example, I can sell the one I've got. And I can buy food at any given one. Other shops also have different things. For example, the healer allows you to just heal yourself for gold, and the cleric, I believe, allows you to remove curses, which go up here. Blessings are like that ability I picked up before, where if I use an artifact, I have the ability to I have a high chance of having its cooldown reduced by a large amount. Curses are basically the same thing. They're passive negative effects that trigger under specific circumstances. For example, the Midas Curse, where you eat gold, but you have 0 food all the time. So all your food gets transferred to gold and you just eat your gold amount. Ah, the lovers. This is another quest I did.
Or a romantic.
I have the ability to offer to just help them for free, demand payment from my assistant. I can refuse to get involved, which just exits the quest, or I can report them to the woman's father. I haven't actually done this before, so... Let's see. A large, well-dressed man sits, noisily eating a lavish banquet. The nobleman doesn't look up and continues to eat as you tell him about the young suitor who intends to steal away his daughter. A gesture to the guard sends them from the room, and soon afterwards they return with the young man struggling between them. "Curse you, fiend!" cries the young man as he is dragged away. And I draw a curse, which in this case is negative aura. Whenever the player loses a curse, they also lose 1 random item. So, I can get rid of this by talking to a cleric, but in doing so I will lose 1 of my items that I have. And as a bonus, I get 3 gain cards. I got a bunch of food, health, and more food. And that's really the game. It's really fun, actually. Although it is a bit pricey at $25 currently on Steam. It's an early access, though, so it should keep getting updated as time goes on. You have the option of playing with mouse, keyboard, or controller. I personally use controller because it feels a little bit better. And
stuttering steps of new
okay,
life.
yeah, right. There's not really any point to doing endless mode apart from just playing the game as much as you want once you've completed all the challenges.
Become even more difficult from here.
Now, one thing I will just bring up is that the settings are not too great. You've got resolution, full screen, quality, fantastic, all this. That's not really helpful. Like, it's nice that there's a bunch of options, but I don't know what this means. They've also got these things, which, you know, nice options to turn off, but that could definitely be fixed. The game runs pretty smoothly, though, so it's not too big of an issue. And, of course, if you want to start over, you can always do this. Although, unless you're, like, gifting this to someone else somehow, I don't know why you would. There's also a leaderboard. Not 100% sure what this means, because it doesn't seem to do anything. Probably brings up the Steam overlay. But anyway, that's Hand of Fate. I seriously would suggest checking it out if you want. It is really fun. Like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've beaten 7 bosses so far. I put in a bunch of hours into the game already. And even when I'm done, there will be endless mode for me to just continue playing. It's really nice to just have and just play. One thing I kind of wish is the ability to put your own cards in. So, like modding, or just have a system that allows you to put cards in with their own custom effects. For example, I don't know if this card exists or this quest, but it'd be really cool if I could put in a quest about, let's say, you meet a man who's fishing by the river, and you can either offer to help him catch the fish, you can, like, get his rod, for example. And if you get the rod, you
Come
get
now,
like a
hurry
fishing
up.
rod.
We don't have
Whatever.
forever.
But if you pick up the fishing rod, then next time you encounter a river, you can use it and maybe you fish up like a precious ring or something. You know, something like that. It would just be cool to be able to adjust the game as you want and sort of maybe share it on the Steam Workshop with other people. So you could create a little quest line of cards and just have other people play through it. Anyway, this has been Ayoto Corporation. Thank you for watching. This was Hand of Fate, $25 on Steam, currently in early access, so
Make your decisions wisely.
yes, exactly. Make your decisions wisely. But this has been Ayoto Corporation. I think I've said that 3 times now, and we will see you next time.